to the Heroes Powerhour presented by BlizzPro.com. Your hosts, Balrog fan Zexorus and DJ Tyrant. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Heroes Power. This is March 28th. This is episode number 97. We are so excited to have you join us for a really fun episode of the Heroes Power. Your Heroes of the Storm podcast, brought to you by BlizzPro.com and partnered with Legion by Lenovo and Intel. I am DJ Tyrant, your host. We're running a little late this week, but we do have Powerhour fan BP with us. Talk all about this balance patch that Blizzard dropped onto us out of the blue, and we'll touch a little bit on some Heroes of the Dorm stuff, and I think we'll once again talk about Facebook Live and why Blizzard. But anyways,
why?
Yeah, pretty much. But let's go around, talk about our week in gaming, what we've been up to, and how you guys' week has been. We'll start off with Balrog fan.
So I have not been playing Heroes as much as I was recently, and I kind of figured out in the pre-show it's because HGC has me so hype, and I'm just gonna pass this off because this train's just gonna get louder. Carl, you go before me.
I'm coming down off of Breath of the Wild. Playtime on that is decreasing, so I'll play some more Heroes. I'm gonna do some quick match, some unranked drafts to really get in a good groove for it again. I've started that this week, but I want to keep doing it, and then I'll dive into ranked. So hopefully next week I'll have a placement to tell you all about, but we'll see. This week in school is kind of difficult, so but I'll find the time somewhere the next week or the one after. I'll talk about probably got placed somewhere in Plat.
Yeah, I mean, also a major patch came out for one of the other games we all play, so
yeah, 7.2 dropped
fit some time
today
in for that. Yeah, World of Warcraft had 7.2 come out. Yeah, Heroes. For me, I've been playing pretty casually. I do need my placements, and I think with some of these changes, we'll be talking about the balance change. Definitely. Make it a little more enjoyable as some of the more overpowered heroes, I think, or little unbalanced heroes. Did you want to finish up Balrog fan?
Oh yeah, sure. Sure. It's I think the loud excessive honking part of the train is at least gone, but we'll see. But yeah, I've been kind of sucked into Hearthstone. I actually made it up to rank 5, and I've been playing a lot of that and just messing around with random. I don't know. I've been not gaming as much the past couple of weeks. I've been playing this Star Ocean game for the PS4. It's cool. It's just something light.
Yeah, and same with me. Like I already said, I'm playing casually. I was also on vacation recently. I actually just set foot back in the door 30 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So we're all set for this though. But yeah, I was actually really worried about the show tonight because I was like, there's nothing we can talk about, and I was super worried that there was going to be nothing really to discuss. But Blizzard did drop a balance patch today. And blessed us to be able to talk about something for this episode.
Thank you, Blizzard.
Yeah, thank you. A lot of assassins got touched. Start off with Gaul, where his Shadow Flame damage is as well as the duration for keep moving talent at level 1, half a second to a second, along with bonus damage on heroic targets increasing, so a bit better poke for minions and objectives and on a psychotic break now allows the use of Gaul's heroic ability. that's definitely something to look towards. And I'm curious. I still haven't played Cho'Gall since the break rework. And I don't think either of you have, but what do you think of these changes on paper?
Well, obviously they had to do something because looking at Hotslogs, he's the first hero that's fallen below Medivh since Medivh's release, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow, is he really that low?
Yeah. Yeah, and these changes seem to have kicked up a little bit, but I think he's just always going to be a hard hero to use. I'm okay with that. There needs to be heroes like that in the game. I think Blizzard knows what they're doing when they're trying to balance the power of a character like this. I think it's just one of those things where you're always going to only see him shine like in random situations. People are going to be so good with him that he feels unbeatable. Like on the right map against the right comp and stuff, they'll have the practice and they'll do well with him. I just think he's always going to be a tough character to approach on a casual level. So his win rate's always going to look a little lower compared to Jaina or someone that you can get the hang of after a few matches.
Yeah, but I don't know. At the same time, like the only people I feel like who play Cho'Gall are like dedicated Cho'Gall players, right? If you're talking about Jaina, everybody plays Jaina. If you like have even vaguely thought about touching assassins in the last 6 months, you've probably played Jaina. And so you kind of have this mix of like people who have a lot of experience on her and people who are brand new to her, and she doesn't have like the most complex kit, but the win rate is kind of indicative of all these different familiarities with the kit. And Cho'Gall is a very difficult and complex champion, but at the same time, it's not like you're in a random Hero League game. You're like, oh, I feel like picking Cho'Gall this game. It's like there's a couple people who spam him a lot, but I feel like 80% of the Cho'Gall player base has over 50 games on him, which typically, like with Vikings and stuff, drives the win rates higher than their actual power is. So having somebody like Cho'Gall be at a terrible win rate is kind of sketchy.
Yeah, for sure. And I looked at Psychotic Brain. Sure about that. But it's basically when you die, you're able to. Now, apparently now you can use her, which is kind of terrifying. But I don't know. I always feel weird about these talents that require you to die in some way. Tyrael still has a lot of the. I don't know other heroes will have stuff like that. Even Gul'dan, he has that one where he gets higher health, but
death timer is increased.
It's like, why would you pick that? That's just a scary pick.
Yeah, so like this stuff is interesting because it does reward you for dying. So I think these are kind of like suboptimal talents, but I would argue the other one, Cho'Gall has, which reduces the death timer, is kind of different because it like mitigates. It's like if you die, it's not as bad as opposed to it's a reward for dying.
Yeah, we had this conversation a few weeks ago about how the death timer on Cho'Gall is so punishing too, because one death is actually 2 and a 60-second timer is brutal.
So like,
and to your point earlier, by the way, I just want to throw this in while I'm thinking about it. His win rate and pick rate is a lot higher in Quick Match versus Hero League and Team League, where I was initially looking at him. Okay. So I think he doesn't thrive as well in a draft setting because you can pick against him, and
I think people also just like tilt. Like I've got a Cho'Gall in a ranked game. Like, come on, in a quick match, it's like whatever, it's quick match, and people kind of write it off.
You can lock in Cho, can't you, without someone else locking in Gall, or do both players one person?
You have to double pick both of them. You have to be on the same rotation with your friend. And you can pick Cho and it'll lock them into Gall.
No, I mean, my question is, can you, do you have to be, together?
You have to be duoed. You cannot pick Cho'Gall with a random.
So you can't even pick, how do you pick him in Hero League then? Because he's getting picked.
You can duo queue Hero League, right? It's solo duo?
No. Solo queue.
Then he shouldn't be pickable, I didn't think. Or maybe you can...
I thought you could slam him in and force somebody to go Gall with you or something, or Cho, the opposite of, which makes it awkward.
That would be hard.
Because
we gotta test this out. That is.
I want to test this out, but I can't test this out. I'm not gonna go into a ranked game and just lock in Gall and see what happens to the guy after me.
Right. And what's funny, if you look at Cho'Gall in Team League, he's at a 55 and 54% win rate, respectively. Like he's one of the higher characters winning.
Okay. This guy in chat saying you can pick him in Hero League. So Blizz must have reduced that. I know when he released, you had to be in a duo.
Yeah, you did.
But they could have I guess they changed that when they adjusted how Hero League works so that he can actually be played in Hero League.
Yeah,
I stand corrected.
I knew you had to pick him in the same rotation, but so anyways, I'm just saying like maybe that some of his lower win rate comes from some guy going, ha ha, troll.
Yeah, that could be it.
I don't care what other people do.
Exactly. Enough Cho'Gall talk. Let's move a little bit. One of the more hotly contested assassins lately in this meta has been Ragnaros, and he is receiving even more change. Basic attack damage being reduced. Sulfurious, Empower Sulfurious. The cooldown for Sulfurious Smash being flame at 13. A higher cooldown and armor. So I think good changes across the board for Ragnaros, kind of bringing it down a little.
Yeah, these are kind of reasonable. I think a lot of I think about this earlier. We're kind of halfway in the patch notes, but I think a lot of the changes, Blizz is kind of getting better. They used to either like tickle somebody and just like they lose 3 attack damage and oh man, that's a big, that was considered as a nerf, or they just like completely dumpster them. But I think the magnitude of a lot of these changes is really good and feels like it's going to be a reasonable nerf. That said, Ragnaros is kind of stable right now. I guess their internal data shows he needs a nerf, but I didn't really feel like he was OP. But we'll see. He won't get crushed by this.
Nerf him into the ground as far as I'm concerned. I hate fighting against Ragnaros.
Yeah,
no,
I don't know. I don't feel like he's been too bad, but yeah, it seems like people are more reacting to how he was before his most recent changes before this. Because he was constantly banned out. I think he might be the highest banned hero on Hotslog. I could be wrong, but I think he's pretty close, if not number 1.
Yeah, probably. I don't know where to see if I can find that information.
I can look it up as well. I have a computer. Popularity games banned. Yeah, 64,000 games banned for Rag, and a distant 35,000 for Lucio.
Yeah, that is true. I see him banned, but I'm not really sure it was worth it. But maybe this is like Blizzard has to nerf him until like the perception is low enough they can buff him back to normal and people perceive him as normal or something. Because the perception and actual balance is always a weird relationship.
Yeah, definitely. Did you have any closing thoughts on that, Powerhour?
I have a very loud train.
Oh, okay. So there is a train that comes and visits Powerfan's house every night.
By the name of Mr. Chooch.
The name of Mr. Chooch. Oh my goodness. I guess we'll move on then, because there are quite a bit of changes. Tychus also got some changes. No, he's not getting his range reverted back to what it should be, but minigun damage is increasing from 2 to 2.5% of max health, and the talent bigger they are, damage threshold decreased from 40 to 35% maximum health. I don't know if these particularly help. They do help Tychus, but I don't know if it's all that he needs to kind of come back.
I mean, he gets like 3 attacks a second or something, so it's not an insignificant minigun buff, but it's still. I think he's probably gonna be okay in like quick match, low team league or low hero league or whatever. Even like platinum, he'll be okay. But like when people are really good at punishing out of position assassins, Tychus is at this point almost by definition out of position if he's doing damage. So
it's quite unfortunate.
Yeah.
He needs that range. I don't know what they were thinking, honestly. He's always needed that range.
Yeah, definitely frustrating, and only minor changes for him. People getting significant changes though is Varian. Base health getting increased, taunt health bonuses being reduced by 10%. And this is a really interesting change. I'm curious of your guys' thoughts on this. Is Warbringer at 4 is getting changed, that it's no longer increasing the slow amount of charge, but the cooldown reduction increased from 6 to 8 seconds. So you'll be able to use it more, but there's no longer an increased slow on it. So it went from having a complete stun to a pretty big slow to its base slow.
Yep. And while Willie's not here to gloat, I think this is he just when Varian released, he's like, you just got to take the stun off of Warbringer. It's too good, and they eventually agreed with him. This is like, I don't know. This basically gets rid of the playstyle Varian used to have. Mm-hmm. I think he's probably still a good hero without it, but he's not the same. He's not the big single target lockdown tank anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to be harder for him to lock down targets. And I mean, it's really shifted to not seeing a solo tank variant anymore. So I think this just kind of further pushes him to that off tank. Did I say single support or something like that? I think
he said single tank.
Okay.
I think you're okay.
Okay,
you're juking yourself.
I'm totally juking myself. Balrog, you don't play too many warriors. What do you think of the changes, though, on Varian?
I think the one thing that helps when you increase the cooldown is it helps with his mobility because it's a slight dash. So, I don't know. I think their vision of him is kind of zipping around the field, as told by the developer comments. So, we'll see if he feels more mobile now. If he feels more mobile, that always makes a hero better.
Yeah, definitely agree. Moving on to our specialist category, who continue to get changed all the time. Your favorite hero, Charlie. It's Murky.
Woo!
Murky.
Yeah.
Getting a bunch of changes to talents. Cooldown reduction for Akon at 1. Vision bonus increase for Fisheye at 1. Tougher Fish bonus damage increased to 50% from 35%. That's kind of scary.
It's a lot.
It's a lot of damage. Slippery when wet at level 7. Those are Blizzard's words, not mine. Movement speed bonus increase from 40 to 50.
Also Def Leopards, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. Now also reduces the cooldown and safety bubble by 2 seconds. And level 13 Fish Tank armor duration increased by a second. And at level 16 Wrath of Cod, damage increased from 10 to 15% of maximum health. Does this scare you, Power fan?
No, because I think they're tuning a lot of abilities that weren't generally taken. Murky's biggest strength when he first got released was probably the bribes, and I mean the sheer ridiculousness of the first iteration of March of the Murlocs. But I don't know. I think I might end up being wrong on this, and they might hit a sweet spot with Murky where they can get him around to a 50% win rate, and he doesn't feel so oppressive. Problem is, he's always going to be very good on those maps where he, can take advantage of short-term objective control, much like Braxis Holdout and Dragonshire. He always does pretty well there if you can't track down the egg and take him out for an extended period of time.
Yeah. That and developer comments are talking about how they're trying to increase the greater variety of builds or viable talent builds, really. So it'll be interesting to see that then they continue with the puns in these comments talking about Murloc standard efficiency. I don't know why they do this. Whoever's writing these, you're fired. P-Flame, any thoughts on Murky before we move on, though?
I don't play Murky at all. If they're right and these are talents that weren't normally picked and they're buffing them, then it's pretty standard. If these are actually decent talent that got buffed even more, then I'm afraid. But I can't offer that much input.
Moving on to the most recent hero released in the Nexus and also the most recent specialist is Probius. Getting quite a few changes. I never actually checked his win rate. I'm curious about it now that I'm here on the hot slog page, as he is at 46.7%, so not doing too hot, but they are changing him in today's patch, and one of the first things they're doing is decreasing the cooldown for Worker Rush, which is his Z ability to increase speed, and automatically activates when Probius is in the Holostorm, so very similar to the change that you made to Sergeant Hammer to have Hammer have her Z ability activated when she's in the Holostorms. Warp and Pylon, this I like because I always felt like it was hard to get Pylons down. They're going to reduce the cooldown from 14 to 12 seconds. Warp Rift range is increasing. Slow amount is increasing. Photon cannon damage is increasing, and duration is increasing as well. And No Gate is Exorus's favorite talent, or favorite heroic, is getting its range increased by 12%. Why 12%? That's what I want to know. But cooldown decrease.
11 wasn't enough, and 13 was too much.
Exactly. There you go.
Well, I think they have like an actual numbers, like this is 6 units or whatever. If they increase it to 7, then I don't know what the right numbers for that would be. But if they just increased it by 1 unit, then it's a 12% range increase.
Yeah, and the cooldown decreased from 40 to 30 seconds. So really pulling for Nullgate to be kind of the one of the go-to heroics, I think, there. And that's just every 30 seconds he's able to use that. That's pretty insane.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this is Mighty Gust back when Falstad first was being played. Like everybody's picking
exactly
this other ultimate when
because it does damage.
Because was it last week we were all like, oh, no one's been picking Photon or Pylon Overcharge, and then we went and looked and it was like 88% on Hot Slog, I think.
Yeah, we were like, nobody should be taking Pylon
nobody
Overcharge, and then we looked and it was 88%, and Willie and I got tilted.
Nullgate is so good; it sets up kills, like it secures kills. I don't. If you can do that every 30 seconds, it's good. People, if you're playing Probius and not taking Nullgate, take a hard look at yourself in the mirror, please.
Yeah. Lots of talents being changed. I don't want to go through those too much. Everyone.
Basically just straight buffs.
They're all buffs.
Yeah.
Cooldown reductions, damage increasing, shield increasing on shield battery. I mean, I'm going to go back and play Probius again. I wasn't super happy with them at launch, but definitely I think if we play some quick match after the show, I'll be trying Probius again. Yeah,
I don't know. I don't think he'll ever appeal to me, but I'm glad they're trying to make him more valuable.
Most definitely. And all right, we have one support getting touched with this patch, and it's the ever contentious Tassadar.
I think was it Dreadnought tweeted the other day that was like, Tassadar is probably the only hero in the game that you could first pick since Tech Alpha, like to now, and have been making a good decision.
Yeah. No, I actually talked to some people yesterday, and Tassadar was a pretty big point of contention, and it looks like Blizzard was listening before we started talking, because they decreased the duration of Plasma Shield from 8 to 5 seconds, and Life Leech increased though, so that's a little bit of a buff, but Archon is getting nerfed because apparently it's way too good. Too much damage.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I mean, it was weird because it's like he suddenly resurged before his rework, and everybody was talking about him being like first ban material.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then he gets a rework and he's even better.
Yeah, it's like, okay, here's the talents that everyone was, like 99% of everyone was taking. Let's make them baseline and then give him more damage. It's like, okay.
Yeah, I like the direction they went though. Like, because it's like windows of opportunity basically, because he did like theoretically could have 100% shield uptime if you didn't like damage through it. Mm-hmm. And so now there's options where the shield will fall off eventually if you don't damage through it, and he can't just reapply it immediately, and Tassadar has to make some better decisions. The enemy team has more decisions to make, so it's just more interactive.
Mm-hmm.
They use my favorite term, meaningful damage.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you need when you play. Like if Tassadar can constantly kind of mitigate everything, he's too strong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's why
it
Johanna
feels bad
got
to
nerfs.
do a whole bunch of damage and nobody on the enemy team is below half health.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although,
Not great.
interestingly, with the changes to Kidarian Resonance at level 1, the bonus shield is increasing, as well as the cooldown for Plasma Shield. So, kind of counteracting the nerfs a teeny bit. Although you have to be, it feels like a little bit more deliberate with casting your Plasma Shields. You can't just cast them and be like, whatever, you're going to be okay.
Yeah, so they removed the endless shields, basically, right? Because that's what that was. At 1, because now it lowers the cooldown, so he can get back the old power where he can have 100% uptime, assuming the shield's only going to burst it down. But he can no longer just pre-shield your entire team. So.
Yeah, there's no more increase to the duration of the shields from finishing the quest, so.
And 30 regen globes is a respectable amount. Like, at the decent, I'm okay with that kind of a gate to that kind of power.
Yeah, that's not going to come till endgame unless you're not really contributing and just focusing on globes, in which case you're probably not helping your team out.
Yeah, and you're a jerk for playing a team game and just going on a quest. So yeah, I think good changes for Tassadar overall. I don't think this will hurt his pick rate too much, especially in the higher levels, but we'll have to see when HGC comes back in 3-4 weeks.
Yep.
So far away.
I know, it's so far away. But Arthas, he got a huge rework recently and has seen a big uptick in play, especially in competitive. He is getting some changes, and they're minor nerfs, but physical armor is decreasing from 15 to 10.
I mean, that's a small numerical nerf, but he now takes, not actually, because of the way the math works out, but 5% more damage from basic attacks at all points in the game. So, it's a nerf.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Probably a needed one, though.
He was good.
What I
he needs
read,
a nerf.
He was ripping people up. Which is good. I'm glad the Lich King is back. I'm glad they do meaningful reworks that suddenly create the problem where, like, okay, this character was never really picked all that often is a bit too strong. Let's try and bring him closer to the middle.
Yes. Now people are actually scared of the Lich King.
Exactly. Remorseless Winter at 16 also getting a bit of a decrease. So the root duration dropping half a second. So getting a little bit less value out of that root. And probably one of the best rooting warriors in the game, I would say. If you catch someone in his E. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like it's one of the scarier ones for sure.
Well, E is his aura.
Oh.
Where if you stay in it, it roots you.
Oh, okay.
With that talent.
That's right. That's right.
W is his Frozen Tempest. No, that's not right.
The targeted root, right?
It's not Frozen Tempest. Tempest.
I think Frozen Tempest is the E.
Yeah, that's the AoE.
And Howling Blast, I think.
Yes, thank you. That's correct.
Yeah, Howling Blast. There we go. The W.
You win the prize. But yes.
Yeah, because it was if heroes remained in Frozen Tempest for 3 seconds, they're rooted now for 1.25 seconds.
Yeah.
So a little bit.
We got there.
We did it.
Good job.
Did it finally. Cho. So the Cho to the Gaul portion we talked about earlier. Basic attack damage being increased. Cho's basic attacks now apply in refresh consuming blaze.
Yep.
Holy smokes. Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty big.
That is. So
it's pretty big.
Yeah, consuming blaze, his W, it already does a pretty significant dot. But now basic attacks, if they're burned, reignite them. And you heal from the ignite.
It applies and refreshes. They don't have to have it. They'll just get the dot every time he basic attacks.
Oh my gosh, this is. All right, who's playing Joe Golden Knight with me?
Yeah, and then Upheaval got a 75% damage buff.
Yeah.
So.
Oh my goodness. There we go.
I'm glad. I think, like I said, I think Cho'Gall is a character that I want to be at least playable because he's fun, and I don't want Cho'Gall to be a point where like, oh no, I got Cho'Gall on my team. I also don't want it to be a point where like you have to pick Cho'Gall because that's not really balanced towards a solo player base.
Mm-hmm.
But give me Cho'Gall boss when he's at a 40% win rate.
Yeah, I think this will help Cho quite a bit feel more impactful, other than just like the driver too.
Mm-hmm.
The driver with an ultimate, which is how he kind of felt before the rework initially. And
yeah.
Sounds like if you're rewarded for doing basic attacks, Cho players are going to suddenly be a little more focused on making sure to punch that Arthas in the mouth.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. And then get rooted for 1.25 seconds.
Uh-huh.
Oh my goodness.
Down 0.5 seconds.
Down 0.5 seconds.
There you have it. More warrior changes, though. We have Leoric getting some pretty significant changes. I felt like he was already starting to see a pretty big increase in meta picks here, but now that his damage is increasing basically across the board, basic attack damage is going up, the skeletal swing damage is going up, as well as at level 16 the renewed swing bonus damage is increasing from 50 to 80%. Oh my goodness.
Developer comments, all shall suffer.
Yeah.
All shall suffer. That's wonderful. Thank you, Blizzard, for those. Oh my gosh. So yeah, I mean, we've already seen a lot in competitive, in HGC Open especially. We've seen a lot of people throwing Leoric onto the solo lane, and even against Dahakas, they're just having really good success in the solo lane. Dahaka obviously has to really be active using his trait and burrowing at the right time to really disrupt the Drain Hope. But outside of that, he is probably one of the strongest solo laners right now.
So Denial's about to go 7-0, right? King Caffeine, best Leoric in the world.
I mean, these changes are cool. I think he probably is going to come out. Like, even though his changes were so small, I think he's probably going to see the highest increase out of all the heroes talked about here.
I mean, these are significant damage buffs, and that's what Leoric does. Is he has, his 2 ults are pretty impactful, and he has some slows, but it's basically you pick him for his damage, and it's kind of slow and methodical, but it's good damage. So they buffed his strength. Go Blizzard, good design decisions.
Definitely. And some really good bug fixes in here as well. Season 3 reward portraits have been updated to read 2016 instead of 2017.
Hey.
I like my time traveling portrait, thank you.
Yeah. And this one is actually really nice. Fixed an issue that could cause players to stall when Zarya was affected by certain attack speed modifiers. So if you're wondering why Zarya was not pickable in Heroes of the Dorm, here is why. And now she is fixed.
So, if she was affected by an attack speed modifier, the person she was attacking would stall out?
No, the
or
Zarya
she would
player,
stall.
yes. Yeah.
Weird.
It was. I'm not sure how much I can actually say since I'm aware of actually what the issue was, but basically it was a bug and they fixed it. So that's the end of that. They finally fixed the observer user interface so that it will display core health on Towers of Doom as raw numbers instead of as percentage. Thank you, Blizzard.
I didn't realize it showed a percentage.
Yeah, it did. It's really frustrating. It was very frustrating doing caster math. I mean, casters are awful at math to begin with, making us do percentages.
I guess what 2.5% is 1.
I think so.
So.
And then fix an issue that could cause observer user interface to fail to show heroic ability cooldowns. Thank you.
That's right.
And button alignment issues, etc., etc. So bug fixes all around. What do we think overall? These changes, are they going to be healthy for the game, or are we okay with these for now? Powerhour fan, thumbs up, thumbs down, I guess.
I'll say thumbs up. I think all these changes were something that needed to happen. I think Leoric's probably going to end up being the biggest winner out of this, and I think Rag has probably been touched so much that people don't realize that he's gotten weaker and wound up the biggest loser out of all these changes.
I mean, I think he's the only one who got nerfed.
Huh?
For Arthas. I think Arthas and Rag are the only nerfs.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
I guess, like, overall, though, I don't think Arthas is going to fall that much.
No, I don't.
Technically, Tassadar was nerfed, too.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's going to fall that much either.
Yeah.
And I think the Probius changes are nice. I just think he's so different that he's still not going to, like, jump up.
Mm-hmm.
People are already seasoned and practiced in Leoric, and changing his damage will help him out a lot.
You mean B-Step?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a feeling in HGC we're going to see someone just bust out the Probius like a last pick on something like weird and do something really, really silly with Probius, but who knows? Really who usually does that stuff? I guess Gale Force does really dumb stuff like that.
Cough and Luck was one who broke out the split push Zagara.
That's true.
I don't think it's dumb stuff as far as HGC though goes.
No,
I mean,
you're
just
right.
because I think they're gonna pick that ultimate, because that net is going to lead to some very.
Yeah.
Oh no. Yeah.
Tilt Willie into next week.
Right. No, I think eventually we're gonna see, when we see Probius, it's gonna be null gate setups.
Yeah, for sure.
Maps with a lot of choke points like Cursed Hallow.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, with that is the latest patch changes for Heroes of the Storm. They are live today in game, and I'm sure we'll check them out in just a little bit. But first of all, let's talk a little bit about Heroes of the Dorm. We are at the final 4 now, and there's actually a pretty cool promotion. If you didn't fill out your bracket, you can still kind of participate in who you think will win. There is a Heroes of the Dorm Pick'em challenge now, where you pick one of the top 4 teams, and every time they get a win, you get 3 one-day stim packs or a 3-day stim pack, however you want to think of that. You basically get 72 hours of stim packs. That's what it is. But we do have LSU, Kentucky, UC Irvine, and UT Arlington playing in the Heroic 4. Should be a really good tournament, I think.
Kentucky was a 13 seed.
Kentucky was a 13 seed. That is correct. They are definitely the lowest seed to make it this far in Heroes of the Dorm. All time.
Cinderella story.
Although it's kind of hard, like, the seeding for these things, because there's not a, like, if you're talking about like March Madness, they play a regular season before this, right? Mm-hmm. So you can say, like, okay, they've kind of performed this way, and we can, argue them as a 13 seed, but I don't know. I mean, I'm sure research went into it, because clearly, the other 3 teams are a 1 seed, a 1 seed, and a 2 seed. So they were fairly accurate.
I'm surprised there's not, like, a collegiate circuit that takes place and kind of helps determine some of this stuff and keep these college players sharp.
It'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. So for those of you who didn't catch some of the games this weekend, I know some of you are not happy with Facebook Live, which is understandable. But UT Arlington nearly lost their first match against Laval in the Elite 8, round of 8. I don't know what they're calling it here. I know it's called Elite 8 in NCAA, but round of 8, and there was literally, like, if you can go back and watch at least the end of that game.
What is going on, Jimmy? You sound like somebody reading a hostage note over the phone. What happened to your voice?
I don't know what happened. I don't know.
It's so deep.
Leave the money in the van. Parked on the side street. We will return your daughter unharmed.
What has happened?
I think I'm losing my voice, maybe.
Okay.
So that's probably part of it.
Something happened.
Something happened.
We couldn't not talk about it.
No,
everyone
it's okay.
died.
I didn't know this at all. I am so sorry.
You're good.
Continue
go on.
Laughing. No, just let it go.
I think we've lost Carl for the show, so we're gonna have to go on without him. He's dead. Let's just go.
All right, so it's Dragonshire UT Arlington Laval, and at the end of the game, it's like we're 22, 23 minutes into the game, and there's this fight that literally goes on for 3 or 4 minutes. It's just kills being traded back and forth, and it was one of the most incredible maybe throws I've ever seen in my life in Heroes. Laval had all the time in the world to win this game and go up 1-0 in the series against UT Arlington and take the first game that they've ever lost in Heroes of the Dorm, but they weren't able to close it out, and my voice cracked again, and Carl is losing it. I'm so sorry.
It's not. It's like you suddenly swallowed a frog and it just stayed there. I don't know. But we'll try to move past this.
I'm doing my best.
I'm going to drink some water because apparently that's what I need right now.
Yeah, try a drink of water. Shannon's exploding. I can't even look at it. So, yes.
I'm not tabbing over to chat for a while, by the way.
That's probably a good idea. I can't even stop it, chat.
I'm glad that the Heroes of the Dorm match was like our Hero League games. They could provide a relatable experience with a 4-minute long team fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very nice to watch. I gotta be honest, I haven't watched any Dorm. Like, the Facebook Live, zero interest. I feel like there was less hype around it than ever this year. I'll probably watch the Final Four, but yeah, I mean, and I think pretty much everyone knows this, so I'm not going to spend too much beating this dead horse, but watching it on Facebook Live is not intuitive. It doesn't feel like you're interacting with people. Part of it is like Twitch is fun to be on. Facebook Live is not.
Yeah, it's like I tuned in for the round of 64 match for A&M, and like I tried to get it on mobile and it just didn't work at all. I had to pull it up on a laptop and it just slow to load and laggy and stuff. And I watched it and it was like after that one match, it was like, well, I didn't. I think the hype was still kind of around. They've been tweeting about it and it's on the launcher and stuff. So the information's been around. It's just that when I think about having to go to Facebook Live, I don't want to. But I will watch the Final Four and stuff just because I do like this event and I do want to support a college esports scene.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I've watched bits and pieces here and there, but
I am so sorry. I'm trying very hard to be a professional. I really am.
This is a professional podcast. Thanks everyone for stopping by from the Blizzard Launcher.
Look, you changed this on us, sir. All right.
Oh my
God. I was okay, and then Charlie laughed.
I've been doing so good.
You had been.
Jimmy, continue your point.
Please continue.
I will be. Look at this. I'm 100% ready for new Jimmy.
Okay. But UT Arlington's going to win this, and this is why Zach isn't on the show, is because I'm pounding him in the bracket.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He basically said, I can't take the beating I'm taking from Jimmy in brackets, and I need a week off to collect myself.
The beating from man, Jimmy.
Yes. Carl.
It's been a long 3 days. I just want to sleep. Oh, man. And I can't say anything about anything.
No,
It's fun.
you're good.
It's fun.
I'm ready for this.
Do we want to just end the show and play some games? It seems like it'd be the best bet at this point. Is Carl is wiping away his tears.
Sure,
Charlie's trying to hold it together.
Look, I am the picture of professionalism right now. But yeah, we should probably end the show.
I'm too young to be professional.
It's true. We don't expect anything from Carl.
There we go. There you have it. This is going to be this week's episode of the Heroes Power. A little short this week, but we'll have a lot more next week for you, as it'll be a lot of fun. But go ahead and check out our game portion coming up in just a minute. And we will be playing, hopefully, the Brawl. I don't know. If you guys want to join us, make sure to join BlizzPro in the game client. We'll grab people from there. who would like to play Heroes of the Storm with us. I'm going to get through this, I swear. I'm going to get through this. And check out here'sthestorm.blissro.com, where we put up all sorts of wonderful articles. Alebeard is a freaking machine. And we'll be back next week. I'm not even going to do the regular stuff. We're just going to go.
I can do that if you want.
Go for it.
You can check out our Patreon. You can check out our Twitter, Heroes Power Hour. What else do we have? YouTube, BlissPro.com. Make sure you're checking out all the other shows. At Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific, we have the Westmark Workshop, which is our Diablo 3 show, hosted by Leviathan and Nineball. On Thursday, we have 7 p.m. Pacific, we have the Payload Podcast, which is hosted by Jimmy, Tripod, and who is the third host?
Rosh.
I'm blanking. Rosh, yes. And on Sunday at 7 p.m. Pacific, check out Well Met, which is our Hearthstone show, although that's moved to Mondays now, so we need to update the notes. But yeah, that has the boss, Eldorian, Tripod, and I forget the third person. Is that?
Come on, you're a Hearthstone guy.
I know, but I don't...
Tanner,
thank you. I don't usually do this part, so...
Eventually we'll get back to actually reading off patron names, but we do appreciate you if you're donating a lot. Or we appreciate you a lot, even if you're not donating a lot.
Mm-hmm. No matter the donation amount, it always goes into helping make this show better, and we appreciate any donation sent our way via Patreon.
most definitely.
And thank you for joining us for episode 97. Jimmy, why don't you go ahead and give us the deepest stay tight ever recorded?
Stay tight.
Thank you.
All right.